What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Spider, we got Arturo, we got Mason, Randall, John Paul, Marco, Jesse. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for being here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have a good, fun-filled show for you guys. I do got my guy, Mythic AZ, that we're going to be chopping it up here, talking all things Arizona Cardinals draft. But do me a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just getting in here, subscribe. We are on the road to 17K. Cannot do it without you guys. And smack the like button on your way in as well. Also, engage in the chat. We are going to have a conversation back and forth. So I'm not going to ignore you guys. If there's any comments out there that you want us to highlight, obviously go ahead and make sure you engage in the chat. And we'll try to bring it up and potentially having some sort of talking point. But I want to make sure that we chop it up here with my guy, Mythic. It's been a while since we've been on this channel together. So without further ado, Mythic, what's up, brother, man? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Cannot complain. Draft season is right here. So the time is coming that we have all been waiting for. How have you been? I know you just moved into a new house. If you guys haven't peeped the background setup, brand new.
Absolutely.
Brand new.
So, things are good, man. Things are good. I know we did a collab yesterday. I'm not sure if you published that video yet, but I'm actually really proud of that mock draft. If you haven't put it out yet.
It is up. If you guys want to go
Awesome.
check it out, we did a mock draft on my channel, Mythic AZ. Both of us. It's 28 minutes long. Good insight. Kind of excellent. Can't lie.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
agree,
pretty proud
man.
of every mock I put up so far.
I agree with you. I think I love the idea of just the difference of opinions out there that we have within obviously the Cardinal fan base, because man, you got a lot of difference of opinion, and I don't think anybody's wrong. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion. But like, if you think about it, the Cardinals right now sitting at 16, and it's crazy because it's not just the Cardinals organization, but I feel like I hear this amongst a lot of fan bases where like this is such a deep defensive line class that everybody's kind of like they want to pick their guy, right? It's like, what is your choice, right? Are you looking for a run stuffer? Are you looking for an interior guy that's going to get you the quarterback? Like, what are you looking for? But I don't know. I kind of feel like there's a lot of fan bases and organizations that kind of have that same BPA model set, but we're kind of like that as well. I haven't had you on here since free agency. Just let me real quick, less than a minute. How do you feel about what Monty Ossenfort done in this last free agent market here in 2025 before heading into the 2025 season? How did you feel like Monty did?
I think he cleaned up, honestly. I feel like he cleaned up where it started, trying to pitch for Milton Williams, struck out on him. So it was option number 2. I think we were in the market for both of them. And as soon as Milton Williams signed with the Patriots for $26 million, which looking back on it was a very steep overpay. Like that's probably like $5 million per year more than we were willing to go over, or maybe even 4. So I'm fine with that. Then he signs Josh Sweat. And then after that, we're kind of just coasting. So it looked like a terrible free agency, or it just didn't look fantastic. It looked like we were kind of just swinging and missing. We weren't in the market for defensive line help. Then Dalvin Tomlinson gets cut, and less than 2 hours later, Monty Ossenfort signed him. That's a great move, fantastic bolster up, and we weren't done there. Calais Campbell's a Cardinal now, so that's fantastic news. Greg Dortch signed his 1-year tender today. He's back. The offense basically stays the same. Evan Brown came back. I would give him like a solid B+ to A- free agency. I think Calais Campbell is a huge addition to this line because the production's there. He can play about 35 to 40 snaps a game. On top of that, his mentorship, his leadership. Darius Robinson's here to learn. If we draft a defensive lineman in the draft, he's here to learn behind Calais Campbell. Just Arizona Cardinals legend, locker room legend. That's perfect for us. And Dalvin Tomlinson also has a huge voice. He's a huge leader. So they're going to be able to learn a lot if we take a defensive lineman. Darius Robinson, who we already have, is going to be able to learn a lot. I'm excited for this year, man. Like the defense is bolstered up. Like the front 7 is a lot better. Obviously, we lost Kazir White. We need another inside linebacker, but we have addressed so many positions of need. Akeem Davis Gaither, if he comes into his own, that'll be interesting. We're just very fast and very dominant on the line now. It doesn't look like we're going to get ran over, which is huge because we're not going to have Zach Charbonnet just running all over us, a second string running back behind that terrible Seattle offensive line for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in one of the most critical games of the season. We're not going to have Chuba Hubbard pop off for a bunch of yards. We're good. I think we're good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Monty Ossenfort, and I think you said what B+, A- is what you said around there. Yeah, I think he did a fantastic job overall. I think that he's addressed a lot of the needs that the Cardinal fans have had. There's a little concern, I guess it's not concern, but I guess unknown when it comes down to Hakeem Davis Gaither. But for the most part, I've been hearing Bengals fans saying there's upside, or that there is a very, very intrigue, and there's some fans that didn't want him to leave. And I kind of felt like that was like that with Mac Wilson Sr. when he came. Like there was kind of a lot of unknown. Was he this guy? Did he play edge? Was he a linebacker or a middle linebacker? Like it was a lot of questions with him as well. And he kind of became the most physical guy that the Cardinals have had, in that second 10-year of free agency for the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm curious. He most likely will be that guy in the middle for the Cardinals. I mean, especially we're paying him what, like $5.5 million. I think he's going to get the nod. Or if not, he's probably going to very well make it very interesting here in training camp. So I'm curious to figure out how that's going to work out. But we're here to talk about the draft. I think obviously we talked about this before, and I think everybody's got the same sense that the Arizona Cardinals right now at the 16th overall pick. Let me kind of get a gauge on where you are at. What are your top three guys you want right now? Now, obviously, we're all probably going to say Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. Now, I'm talking about realistic guys, right? That could potentially be there at 16. Who do you think can be there at 16, and who would you want the Arizona Cardinals to go after? And the floor is yours, right? Three guys that you have right now that are just potentially could be there at 16. What are your thoughts?
This is where things get a little tricky. I think number one is 100% Will Johnson, boundary corner, slots in for Sean Murphy Bunting. If he struggles through the season, gets a lot of holding calls, you sub him in instantly. Will Johnson becomes your starting boundary. I think that would be huge for this team. Great fit for Nick Rallis in this defense. Zone corner, great at breaking on balls. Like, he's just a fantastic prospect. In 2023, 2024, had a heck of a season. This last year had turf toe and a hamstring injury, lingered his play, only played like 5 games. So that tape doesn't really justify who he is. He didn't run his 40, so there's a chance he drops to 16 with the injury as well, and people just don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, which I love personally as a Cardinals fan, because that means he could drop, because people love 40-yard dashes. They love the combine. People jump up in the combine. Quarterbacks perform. People trade up like Michael Penix. They saw the zip on his ball, which for some reason they didn't see at Washington. I don't know. I don't really understand how people like fall in love with the combine. That pisses me off. I'm not going to lie, but it is what it is. I'm not an NFL GM at the end of the day, right? So Will Johnson is my guy, number one. Derek Harmon is an easy, clear cut number two. Led all of college football with pressures, if I'm not mistaken. On top of that, can get to the quarterback with ease. Pass rusher, can learn by Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson, who know how to get to the quarterback already. Develop him. Get him in the right mindset. Learn behind two really, really good players at this point in his career. And Calais Campbell is fantastic at run stuffing, and Calais Campbell is great in the run game, but he knows how to get to the quarterback as well. Had like 5 sacks at 37 years old. He is just an ageless wonder. Bring in a Derek Harmon, we're in a good spot. Number 3 for me personally, and this isn't really a position of need, but I mean, I like Emeka Buka. I don't know how realistic that is at 16. That'd have to be on like a trade back, and all your prospects have to be off the board at like 26. But I love him. It's either him or Josh Simmons or Kelvin Banks. I'm really torn between those three. I can't give you one. But if we walk away with one of those three, that would be huge for this team.
So I'm surprised there's not an edge player on that list there. Are you looking at these edge players and you're thinking that you can go after one in the second round? Is that what your mindset is?
100%. I mean,
Okay.
you have a Princey, you had Jared. Like, there's a lot of guys here where you could just dabble in the back end. And I'm not really concerned with
Okay.
edge right now. I mean, James Pierce is just a big question mark to me. I like Donovan personally
As a Raku?
over James Pierce. Yeah, as a Raku over James Pierce. I think Mike Green will go to the Falcons at 15 or
Yeah,
above that.
I agree.
So I think he's gone, and the allegations there too just defer him to being a Monty Ossenfort guy to begin with.
Right.
So I'm not even considering him an option at this point, if I'm being realistic, even if
How
he's
about
there at
Michael?
16.
How do you feel about Michael Williams out of Georgia?
He's really an interesting prospect. He's
Right.
20 years old out of Georgia, really great in the run game, like exceptional in the run game. He's kind of like Zaven Collins is right now, but with way more potential, because Zaven Collins was never supposed to be an edge. He was supposed to be a Mike linebacker
Yeah.
converting to edge, who just got really good at run, like
Yeah.
setting the edge and run defending. So it's a really weird situation. But Michael Williams is already better, in my opinion. And on top of that, if you develop a pass pro set, he is going to be insane. He is a freak prospect. And if he gets coached up by the right team, he's going to be a problem. And hopefully he doesn't go 18 to Seattle. I'm really hoping he doesn't go 18, because I feel like if Seattle gets their hands on him, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So with Seattle, and I don't know, like I feel like, so with obviously the guys that we have, I think that the most surprising out of the NFC West, I feel like it's gonna be the Rams. I don't know. I feel like the Rams are gonna do something crazy, whether it's like not crazy, but like a wide receiver, or heck, they might even go after a quarterback with the things that I've been hearing here and there. But like when it comes down to the 49ers and the Seahawks, I can very well see them go defensive line, whether it's edge or an interior.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the terrible part, because it's almost gonna be like you're always gonna have that conversation, because you play those guys 2 times a week or 2 times a year. And then C or whatever I said B, they're in your division. So you're always going to have that debate between, oh, who's going to be your guy, right? Or if the Cardinals don't go that route, if you go after a tackle, and if they're killing them, it's going to be one of those debates that people are already, chirping about here in the X/Twitter world or any social media out there. So I'm very curious to figure out how this is going to all shake out throughout the NFC West. But my three guys for 16, and I'm talking about just 16. I'm not talking about trading back. Who I would like, I do like Will Johnson. I really do. I think a potential number one corner potential, right? He's going to have bumps and bruises. Like if the Cardinals bring him in at 16, he's going to have some bumps and bruises. I want to be very, very clear. But I do like the idea of Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. There's just a lot of intrigue there. And I know there's a lot of debate between the best corner. Is it going to be, John A. Barron or Will Johnson? I don't know. There's something about Will Johnson I really, really do like. I would love that. Number two for me, it'd probably be James Pierce Jr. And I don't know what it is about him, man. I don't. And I get it. I think it's going to be very slim that the Cardinals go after him, just because of the situations that obviously those rumors that kind of came out. But one thing that I do fear is that if he does fall to the end part of the first round, who's going to get him? The freaking Eagles. They always kind of feel like they land talent and they just kind of drop. But James Pierce Jr. is up there. And then Kenneth Grant, I would throw at number 3. Now, if we trade back, that I'm giving you multiple different prospects at that very moment. But if we stay at 16, and if they're there, I would say Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr. And here's the thing. I think James Pierce Jr. might be available in the later part of the first round too. So like, even if they want to try to trade back, he might be there because of those concerns of those character issues. But also Kenneth Grant. I think those are my top 3. But like I said, I wouldn't be mad at a tackle if the Cardinals go Josh Simmons, if they go Kelvin Banks. I personally would rather take Josh Simmons, even with the injury, just because of obviously the connection with Ohio State and Justin Fry. And like, I would rather take Justin Simmons. Josh Simmons, right? My God, Josh Simmons.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I would rather take him over Banks, but at the end of the day, if the Cardinals do go offensive tackle, I wouldn't be mad at that either. Let me ask you this. I ended up seeing a report coming out here on X/Twitter. Now, this is something that I don't think I've even talked about before, or just the thought of this potentially happening. I never thought to even talk about this. Let's talk about this real quick, because we've all mentioned the fact that, hey, maybe the Cardinals can trade back their 16th overall pick, right? But there was a report that came out here from Josh Weinfuss here, and shout out to him here of ESPN. He says this: a source told me today that I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals trade back into the later portion of the first round to target a developmental position. Now, let's talk about this real quick, Mythic, because like I said, we don't know what could potentially happen. We all, obviously we can have all sorts of different topics to talk about. And this is kind of an intriguing one because let's say for example, the Cardinals do stay at 16, right? But then they decide to use that second round and other picks to trade back into the first round. If this is something that you can see happening, who do you think this player would be, or what position would you want the Arizona Cardinals to do if they did double down on something like this?
So we said trade back into, meaning our second and assets, we'd come back in to the first round, right?
That's how I understood it. Let me reread it again. It says, a source told me that it wouldn't be a surprise if the Cardinals trade back into the later portion of the first round to target a developmental position. Now, this could be, it is kind of a little confusing because you could either say you're trading back that 16th overall, or you're just trading back up into the first round. How are you reading this? Because I'm reading it as they're trading potentially back into the first round of the later part.
I think it's like a double back. And if I had to pick a player, developmental, there's no one who really screams developmental besides Josh Simmons at this point, coming off a torn ACL. I think that's kind of the prospect. It makes so much sense, the connections there. So I think it's got to be Josh Simmons, right? Like tackle prospect, played with Justin Fry at Ohio State. Obviously, there's some connection there. There's probably some hype going around the building right now. Like, hey, this guy's probably going to drop in the draft. We should probably consider trading back up to like 26, 27, 28. And I could see one of those teams moving back too. So if the Cardinals do that, I think it would be Josh Simmons.
Yeah, no, it's intriguing, man. I honestly don't know. I mean, I've heard, some rumbles and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm on the NFC West roundtable, which I really love because I get a dosage of everything that people are saying within like their fan base and then their media as well. Because when you're covering a specific team, you can't cover a lot other teams other than what you're focusing on because it's so hard to do. So I kind of got a little bit of an insight on 49ers, Rams, and then the Seahawks as well. And what I was talking about the Rams a little earlier when I said they might be a little bit of intriguing, like there's a real possibility that they might either A, trade back, or B, get a freaking quarterback with the first round, or trade back into the later part and get a quarterback with the first round. So I'm so curious to figure out what the Cardinals are going to do with this. Like, let's say, for example, a developmental prospect, because it could be anybody, right? Like, let's say, for example, the Cardinals do go Kenneth Grant, right? Let's say they go the defensive line just to kind of make it not so vague. Let's say they go defensive line. Like, what do they go that the next route? Like, I would love the idea if, like, let's say, for example, like, kind of close your eyes, everybody, for a second. Let's say we go after our defensive guy at 16, and let's say Luther Burton falls. Let's say he falls to like 27, 28, 29. Would you be in that realm of the Cardinals trading up to getting, for example, like a Luther Burton or a guy that's going to be able to spread the field, or maybe even a Emeka Ibuka, right? Somebody that you really do like. What if a scenario happens like that? Now, every time I do mock drafts, Emeka Ibuka usually does go over to the Texans because they can very well use a wide receiver. They don't have Diggs, and then there's a lot of unknown with Tank Dell as well with that big injury. So Emeka Ibuka usually lands there. But what say you? Would you like a wide receiver as a potential trade up option to go back into the first round? What say you?
I wouldn't mind that. I love Ibuka. If we could go Ibuka, I think it'd be perfect. I think Luther Burden kind of has a similar kind of play style to Greg Dortch, if that makes sense. Just twitchy, super make the guy miss an open field, really quick burst, just twitchy and open field. I think Emeka Ibuka is not slow, but like you can classify him on the slower side of things. But like him as a prospect, he can play wide receiver one, he can play wide receiver two. He deferred to Jeremiah Smith, and you saw him thrive. All he cares about is winning. The production is always there. He can prove it in 2023, in 2024. Like the tape does not lie. If we were to double down, though, I think that is a smart move because I think there are some slots that are going to fall in this 22 to 28 range where if they do fall, then I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah. I mean, that's an option. Or let's say, for example, like you said, an offensive tackle, right? But it just really depends. Like, what do they deem as a developmental prospect? Because when we heard from Monty Oscorp and Jonathan Gannon a couple days back when they had their presser, we all thought that, well, I mean, I guess we didn't really think that Monty came into these drafts saying, "Oh, I want more draft picks," right? He's not like Smeagol, like, "Oh, my pressure." No, he doesn't. It's not like he comes in; he's just waiting for everything to fall and figure out exactly how it drops there. But realistically, like we kind of talked about this when we were talking about our mock draft, or it might have been offline yesterday, that there might be four quarterbacks or three quarterbacks being taken. No, four quarterbacks we might be taken in the first round, and that's going to be Jackson Dart, Shador, Cam Ward, and maybe even Milrow going in the first round as well. So with that happening in those quarterback runs, that leaves more prospects to drop to the second round in the later part of the first round here for the Cardinals to potentially trade up. So let me read back and ask you again. Now that we kind of opened up to a potential wide receiver, what would you do if you were Monty Austin for? Like if you were going to trade back up for a developmental prospect, who would that be?
Developmental is key
Yeah.
here. I think that's key. That's not an Ibuka. It's not a Luther Burden. I think it's a Josh Simmons. I think
Yeah.
it's a guy coming off torn ACL that doesn't have to play right away, plays behind Jonah Williams, Kelvin Beachum, kind of sits here, learns, gets comfortable in the year, comes in next year and takes over. I think that's like the perfect use of developmental. Like I don't think they hit that very well,
Yeah.
but I think that's what it would be.
That
I
would
mean,
be
the
the
connection's there, and I've been saying this for months now. Josh Simmons, love him as a prospect. I think he fits very well. Athletic tackle. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, my very first mock draft before I even like did a deep dive into things, I did have the Cardinals taking Josh Simmons with the 16th overall pick, and I don't. It was so much backlash that I got in my very first mock draft, and I was just like, hey, we like Ohio State, and at that very moment, I didn't do a lot of deep dives into the prospects, but now it's kind of coming back full circle that hey, maybe this might be a real possibility that he could be a Cardinal in the later part. Maybe not 16. Maybe it was a little too rich for the 16th overall pick when I mocked him to the Cardinals. But hey, maybe he can land to the Cardinals later on if they do decide to trade up. So yeah, I'm curious, man. I'm really curious. What are some couple wide receivers? Or let me ask you this real quick. What are some positions outside of trenches you would like the Cardinals to address in the draft? Not the first round, but just in general. Just in general. So outside the trenches, offensively and defensively, what are some other positions that you would like the Cardinals to address, whether it's the first round, second round, or third round? We'll keep it to that.
I guess this is very deterrent on if two players are available, but inside linebacker is very interesting depending on who's available at what slot. Now, if they don't fall, Chris Paul, obviously Demetrius, those are the two guys that I'm looking at. Demetrius is on the older side; he's 25 years old, but Chris Paul, I think, is super underrated. If he's there in like the fourth round, snag him up. But I think the biggest positions that I'm going in here is you have to walk away with one of these or three of these four in the third or the first three rounds, I would say, is either defensive tackle, edge, receiver, or you have to dabble in on corner. And the only way I'm dabbling in on corner is if Amos or Will Johnson are there. Those are the only two prospects I would take. I'm not taking a Siobhan Revel. I'm not taking anybody else. It is those two, and I am set. It's just like the inside linebacker. It's so situational, but those are the positions for sure that I think the Cardinals have to address. I mean, there's some guards here too that you can swing over, but I'm thinking tackle right now.
Tackle. What about linebacker? Sorry, throw kind of went off. What about linebacker?
Yeah, inside linebacker.
Inside linebacker, yeah.
Yeah, that's Chris Paul and Demetrius.
Oh, that's
Those are
right.
the
Oh,
two
that's right.
people.
Okay. Oh, do you say Demetrius Knight as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I like him as well. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Yeah. No, those are really really good call outs there. Potential inside linebacker. I do believe that the Cardinals should potentially target that. The front seven, man. Just, I mean, we might be surprised with Akeem Davis Gaither. I mean, maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. Let me ask you: do you still think there's a chance that Kazir White comes back,
No,
or I think it's cooked?
I think that's dead. I
You think
think
it's
it's been
cooked?
dead for a while. I think it's been dead for a while.
You
I
just
mean,
think
he kind of.
value, right? Value just didn't meet with their selves, and he probably doesn't
Um,
want, like, because he's not
I
signed with
don't
anybody
know.
else.
I don't think he's like insane. I don't like he's solid. He's a good tackler. He's not the best cover. He's on the average of athleticism. Like there's a lot to be wanted at that position, and he's not what we need going forward. There's a different direction to go. Get athletic, get young, get cheaper. And that's what we did. Now we got young, we got athletic, we got cheaper, and now we're giving a guy a shot who we kind of did the same thing with Mac Wilson. Look at how that turned out.
Yeah,
On film for the first like 8 weeks, he was just the only defensive player besides Buda Baker really doing anything. Him and Garrett Williams and Mac Wilson were like it.
yeah. Yeah, I like Kazier's the person. I understand there was a drop off from year one to year two. When it came down just like the play for Kazier, it's just like I've mentioned before. I just don't think that the value is completely like met from both sides. I feel like he valued not so much. That's kind of wrong to say, but I think he thought his value was a lot higher than the Cardinals were willing to pay, and they probably like just test free agency and see what happens. And it's crazy because he's still available right now. And I know there's some Cardinal fans that want Kazir White to come back, but if you're paying somebody already $5.5 million, and yeah, I think you're probably going to give him the nod. If not, you're going to draft a young guy for a developmental, maybe 2026 inside linebacker, right? Something like that is what I'm kind of thinking. So, okay. So inside linebacker. What were the other positions you said again? I'm sorry. So inside
Defensive tackle,
tackle, okay.
edge,
Edge,
receiver,
receiver.
corner, inside linebacker. And
Okay.
inside linebacker, corner are like teeter totter. Like if they're there, then they could try on for receiver. But it just depends because I have two prospects at each position that I like in the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, I would say. First 3 rounds. So it's very situational for me. It
Depending
just
who's
depends how the
there.
board falls. But there's a lot of prospects I like. So it's like a lot of people could fall in our lap that I'm comfortable taking. I think it's a pretty deep class.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, man, this is I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about this draft. We talked about this a little yesterday as well. Like, what is your level of confidence, like, in Monty Austin for that he's gonna like cook up something great? Like, even hearing the fact that there's a potential, the Arizona Cardinals might trade back up into the first round for a potential like developmental prospect. That's pretty exciting on its own as well. Like, I don't know. I feel like Monty Austin for is going to do something really, really good. And like, are you excited? Like I'm used to being nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm used to being really, really nervous when the draft comes around. But now I'm just excited. What are your thoughts overall? Just about being what 6 days away, like 5 days away from the NFL draft?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'd say like an 8 out of 10 in terms of confidence level, excitement level, probably like a 9.5, 10. Which first year diving in as like a content creator year round, or second year technically, I guess you can say, but like first year fully invested into this. I think the top end talent is a lot worse than the back end talent, if that makes any sense. I think there's some prospects up there, like a Mason Graham, like an Abdul Carter, but like I think the players that are going to go top 15 aren't going to really compete with the guys going in the back end of the draft. I think there's going to be a lot of people who fall. So I'm very confident that Monty Ossenfort can cook up. It's just what will he cook up? That has me a
Yeah.
little scared. I think there's going to be players that are going to be on the board that we all like, and Monty Ossenfort might trade back. It just might be the case. You might get too much capital. You might not be able to pass up on a trade. But if a Will Johnson's there and we trade back, then I'll be a little upset. I can't lie. I will be a little hurt. But,
Yeah.
I trust the vision. I trust what he sees. I mean, if the trade is right, the trade is right. But, I don't know.
I
I'm
like Will
feeling pretty
Johnson
confident.
too. It's just it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like with the current state of the cornerbacks that we have right now. It's just who takes the back seat, right? Who take? I
It'd
mean,
have to be
if
Sean
it's
Murphy.
Sean, exactly Sean Murphy, then I think it's an obvious thing. But do they go into 2025 with no veteran? Now I get it, right? It's probably better for him not to be out there, but do the Cardinals defense do that now? Garrett Williams most likely will be the veteran because he's going into his year 3. Max Melton will be going to his year 2. We don't really know what happens with Elijah Jones, but like Starling Thomas the fifth also kind of gets bumped as well if they do a move like that. Like I do like Will Johnson as well, but man, it would hurt to not see those guys' development. Like it will get stunted like dramatically.
Could you imagine, though, Max Melton alongside Will Johnson and Garrett Williams? If Max Melton comes into his own, that's a bolstered secondary with Buda Baker. And then
And
Dadrian, if he comes into his own.
right, I was gonna say or Thompson or Dadrian, yeah, yeah. No, I mean it would be good. Absolutely, it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's because like we drafted these guys and I had so much high praise for Starling Thomas. We didn't draft Starling Thomas. We got him on a waiver. But, like, I don't know. I really like it. But we can upgrade. Like, we can. So it's not like one of those things where I'm like, no, 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 because this is I like our cornerback state right now, obviously short of Sean Murphy bunting. But he done a couple things here and there. I mean, he's not as a liability as Marco Wilson was. Like, let's be real. Marco Wilson was a liability. Sean Murphy bunting is not great, but he's also not like dog water. Like, do you agree with that? Or do you think he's like just
Sean Murphy?
yeah, Sean Murphy.
I don't think he's good at all. I
Okay.
mean, I was way wrong. I thought the signing was solid. He was going to come into his own. I think every time it's one-on-one coverage, there's like a 30% chance it's a holding call. Every time Sean Murphy Bunting's going up for a contested ball, it seems to always be a hold. He's getting burnt. He's getting beat. Like, I don't think he's like the worst corner in the world, obviously.
Right.
If he was the worst corner in the world, he would be cut and they
True.
wouldn't put up with it. But I think the veteran presence alongside the fact that he has won a Super Bowl, probably has a hold in the locker room right now, and obviously in terms of technique is probably one of our better corners, just in terms of fundamentals,
Right.
outside of Garrett Williams. But I think you can find value in Will Johnson
Will
just coming in
Johnson.
here and Sean Murphy Bunting being benched by week 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably what it will come down to. I mean, be realistic here. Yeah, if they do go after Will Johnson, which, like I said, I mean he's part of my top 3 guys that I would absolutely love for the Cardinals to get at 16. It's just that would be a big talking point as to what happens to our cornerbacks, the state of the cornerbacks. Let me ask you guys this: let's say we go Kenneth Grant. Who's the not what's the word? Who's the guy that takes the back seat if we go Kenneth Grant? Because we got a lot of guys that's going to be because like with the depth that we got this offseason with Darius Robinson hopefully coming to his year 2. And I get it. He's more of a nose tackle, right? Kenneth Grant as opposed to just a interior guy, right?
Yes, so that would work pretty well because Calais Campbell's only playing 35, 40 snaps a game as it
True.
stands right now, 30, 40 snaps a game. So just a rotation of all of them. Darius Robinson is a hybrid. You can play inside, outside. You also have, what's his face? Dalvin Tomlinson. I always slip on his name for some
Dalvin,
reason. You have
yeah.
Dalvin Tomlinson
Mm-hmm.
who can get to the quarterback. So it's just completely different play styles. Kenneth Grant is a run stuffer. You have Darius Robinson who can do both. You also have, if you were to take Kenneth Grant, just a guy who plugs the run. So you have a lot of versatility and a lot of packages you can run, which, I mean, it gives Calais Campbell the chance to actually take some plays off and actually be
Yeah.
elite in those plays that he's playing. So that would be a very solid pickup for the Cardinals, I would say. It's kind of underrated.
I mean, well, we've seen Jonathan Gannon. His defense is all very based off rotation, especially on the trenches, very rotation. But I guess the question is it rotational because we don't have a guy like Josh Sweat? Is that are we gonna see Josh Sweat playing like 75, 85%, and obviously that 15 kind of rotation. Like that's one thing I'm really curious about, because like we haven't had a guy like Josh Sweat on this defense since Jonathan Gannon has come here. So like, are we rotation because the lack of closer on this defense? Because Zaven Collins is another player. Like, what the heck's gonna happen with Zaven?
I have
Because
no idea.
Baron Browning, I mean, you paid him for what, like a 2-year deal? We're probably going to use him as a solid rotation guy as well. You got Josh Sweat. Let's say the Cardinals do go after Princely in the second round, right? You got him. So it's like the big problem that we had in 2024 with, oh man, this defensive line is not good, or in terms of inconsistency getting to the quarterback. Almost got to feel like that's the biggest upgrade the Cardinals have done in this offseason. Like they came into this offseason with the plan. Upgrade that defensive line, and boy, did they do that. Like they did that by leaps and bounds. So now we're talking about Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, for all the people giving him, oh, he's 39 years old. Who cares? He still plays really good football.
One of the
So
best run defenders in football, if not the best. I don't remember where he graded, but I think he graded number 1, if I'm not mistaken, in
yeah,
terms of run.
nuts. And then you had some other young talented guys in there as well. Like our problem was absolutely solved by a plethora of different things. So like that's another thing I'm really curious about. Like how's the defensive line going to be able to maneuver this? Let me ask you this real quick. We talked about, obviously, I think, where are you at right now with so the 16th overall pick? You already gave me your top 3 percentage wise. Just a quick percentage. What do you think the percentage is that the Cardinals do go after a wide receiver at the 16th overall pick? Now, obviously, it depends on how the board falls, but we know that there's some intrigue with Matthew Golden, with a couple ESPN guys already mocked him over to the Cardinals, which doesn't really mean anything, but just gives us something to talk about. What do you think the percentage is that the Cardinals go wide receiver in the first round, the 16th overall? Like, if you were to give me a percentage.
0 to 5%.
Really?
That 16, 0 to 5%.
Really?
It'd be on a trade bag. 100%. 100%.
So,
I can't see it.
I think it's like 10 to 15. I'm giving too much, you think? It's trenches.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's just anything but receiver at 16. If you're sticking and picking, if you're trading back, then it becomes that like 15 to 20% on like a deep first round, just depending on who falls. But at 16, I can't see it at all. I don't think there's a prospect worth taking.
Mako Buka, Matthew Golden, Luther Burton. No. McMillan. Oh, yeah. We talked about McMillan a little yesterday. Not the biggest fan,
I
right?
am not a fan of McMillan like that. I think I have a wide receiver 3 in this class, and then Luther Burden 4. I have Abuka 1, Golden 2.
Golden too.
I don't know. I teeter-totter with Luther Burden and McMillan. I'll give McMillan the edge at 3, and then Luther Burden 4. That's probably how I would rock it.
So you don't think it's very, very at all? That's 16. Trade back, there's a possibility.
100%. I just don't see the value in it. I'm not really high on anyone but Abuka and Matthew Golden.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. So trenches, you think is most likely going to be the pick at 16?
100%. I think there is receivers in the back end too that you can get. Like Torrey Horton's interesting. Like there's some interesting guys in the back end. So
Jalen Noel that we kind of mocked.
Jalen Noel is very interesting. So I don't know. I just don't see the value. If you're not taking like an Abuka in like the back end of the first, I just stay away. That's just me personally. And then maybe trade back up for a Josh Simmons.
What would be nuts is if the Cardinals did trade back up to the first round for like a wide receiver. And I've already seen some people in the comments being like, oh, you're crazy. I'm not going to trade up for a wide receiver. But I mean, if they feel like that's a missing piece on the offense, because I think the offense is good in terms of like, well, I mean, let me rephrase that back. I think we can use help. I think we can use an upgrade on the wide receiving core. I think our running backs are good. I think there's a couple pieces on the offensive side of the ball. Trenches offensive line that obviously can use an upgrade. But I think, I don't know. Actually, no, I don't even know now. What do you think is more established? Let me ask you that. Offense or defense right now before the draft? What do you think is more established right now? Still offensive or defense? Or you think it's pretty?
Tough. I think it's pretty split.
Pretty split?
I mean, you got to think about it. You have your quarterback, your running back, tight end, receiver 1, left tackle. You have your left guard or right guard, depending where Evan Brown plays. You have your center solidified going into this year. You have your wide receiver 2. Do you just either move Michael Wilson to the slot, which I think we need a receiver. We need a right guard still. Our right tackle's technically solidified because they're not moving off Jonah Williams, so he will probably
Yeah,
guaranteed be the starting guy there.
100%.
And that's fine, I guess, even though the same offense is kind of concerning because our
Yeah.
line isn't fantastic. Our receiver separation wasn't great. So I'm assuming they go receiver. And if we rock in the same offense, I'm a little concerned. I'm not going to lie. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I just don't know what you would have done in free agency besides Trey Smith to really bolster this. So I don't know what else you could do. I think
I
they did
mean,
everything they could and just
Chicago
went
took
all
everybody.
defense. Yeah, Chicago traded for everybody, which shout out to them. I mean, we'll see what happens, but like I don't know. There's a lot of value in this draft, and I'm very curious to see what happens. With this offense rocking the same thing, not the biggest fan, but I think it's pretty split.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's when I kind of caught myself a little earlier because I was like, I don't know. I think I favor a little bit more the offense, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. With these new additions on the defensive line, I feel
Yeah,
like the
I
Cardinals
favor
did a
the
pretty darn good
defense.
job.
I favor the defense now. I mean, we just spent
Yeah.
a crap ton of money.
The only position on the defense right now, and it's just because of unknown, is the Akeem Gaither, Davis Gaither position, which is that Mike inside linebacker. That's the only one that it's unknown to me. It could be great. You never know. It could be a really good position. You could come out and say, "Oh, I finally got my opportunity. Let's go." We never know. But that's really the only one on the defensive side of the ball that I feel questionable. I'm not gonna lie, I do have a lot more questions about the offense right
Yeah, we need a
now.
guard. And Isaiah Adams is starting right guard right now, or left guard,
Yeah.
wherever you swing him. And then you have Greg Dort starting again. You have Michael Wilson starting again. And I love Michael Wilson, but the same receiving core is not it. Even if Marvin Harrison develops, there's no separation outside of Marvin Harrison, who I think is going to have a really good year.
I agree.
There's nothing. There's no separation, like at all. Like we struggle with separation. This is something I was calling out all last season, and obviously the draft is where you address that. This is where you get right. This is where you clean up the mistakes you couldn't capitalize on in free agency. Where I don't even know if they want to trade Smith. I mean, that's a lot of money to invest into an offensive lineman. So why not just go draft where the front seven is absolutely loaded? You're in a good
Yeah.
position. You don't have to really overspend at that point. You kind of get the talent you got to bring in. We got an edge. We got two defensive tackles. Just bolstered up the front seven. Got another guy who could be really good at inside linebacker. Like you don't know. So there's a lot of question marks, but the offense I am not comfortable whatsoever rocking the same unit. And
Yeah.
I'm really hoping Greg Dortch is not our starting slot. I'll
I
be
mean,
very vocal about that. I was optimistic going into last year, and I would love to be proven wrong, but
yeah.
I got let down. I thought Greg Dortch was going to have a really good year because I thought we'd actually utilize the slot receiver, which we don't in this offense. It's very tight end running back centric. So the
Yeah.
fact that Marvin Harrison almost cracked 1,000 yards in his rookie year is very impressive, even with all the drops, with all the miscommunications, with the clunky play in the beginning of the year. Like it's impressive that he cracked 850 and 8 touchdowns with a lot to clean up. The game has to slow down for him. Kyler even said that. We all knew that. And when the game comes to him and it slows down, and he's able to make those back end catches and he's able to slow the game down, pace himself, and it just kind of clicks. Dangerous.
If we didn't have Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, or Lad McConkey, I don't think people would be talking about him because I saw this like top 10 list that I think it was Fox Sports that
Yep.
ended up putting it. I'm not sure if you saw
Bottom
it,
of the
but
pyramid.
yeah, they're saying the top 10 best picks of the 2024 season. And it was Jaden Daniels, which all makes sense. Brock Bowers makes sense. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Jared Verse, Lad McConkey, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Joe Alt, and Bucky Irving, which was a late round pick. Nowhere on there is Marvin Harrison Jr., which is crazy to me. Because I get it, the wide receivers that were mentioned on here, they have over 1,000 yards, but like it's I mean, year two is what he's gonna really have to kind of come out here. People are gonna keep disrespecting him, and if
People are
because
overlooking him too. Like
yeah,
he's not trash.
yeah,
Like I mean, he struggled early on, but like he wasn't trash. Like we had an 1,000 yard tight end. Like people don't really understand that Trey McBride is the focal point in the pass game,
yeah.
as he should be, as he absolutely should be. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. I know the talent that he has on film. I know the talent that he has in general, his work ethic. I'm not worried about it at all. I think the hands are there. I think he was very shaky coming into the league. Obviously, the game looked very fast for him.
Too
Like the
quick, yeah.
game wasn't clicking off the rip. You could see that in the Buffalo game too. he dropped the pass. Like I just think he was nervous. Like I mean, he's human at the end of the day. I mean, things happen. Kyler said it himself too on I don't remember where it was, but he said it on an interview talking about how he just has to be comfortable and he's not worried about it. I don't think I've ever been worried about it. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is who Marvin Harrison Jr. is, and that's a Hall of Fame prospect. Like I'm not deterring off that. I still see the talent. I see the potential. People are overlooking it, calling Malik Neighbors the best on a 3-win team, cracking 1,000 yards, having less touchdowns. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It just irks me a little bit. It's just
It irks me
overlooking it.
too,
Well, I
and
know Marvin Harrison Jr.'s got to feel some type of way too. I know he's probably like, all right,
well, I
watch
mean,
this shit.
it should irk you. I mean, as a Cardinal fan, I mean, it definitely should irk you because I think at the end of the day, I mean, we know, we watch every single game, and we know that there is some. I'm not gonna even say flaws, but things that he needs to clean up. We're not gonna come out here and say he's perfect. We're not gonna come out here and say, oh man, but we do see that this guy is gonna potentially be, as long as he can stay healthy, a really, really good wide receiver here in the NFL. It's just this was such a high stacked wide receiving core that everybody's comparing all the other wide receivers to our guy that we got with the fourth overall, which what Malik Neighbors got 2 picks, after, or was it 2 or 3 picks after, and then you got Brian Thomas like in the 20s, and then McConkey towards the end. So it's like it's one of those things where he's always going to be compared to those wide receivers. It's the unfortunate part of the NFL, but that's just what people do, in and out, and it's going to be up to him to change it, man, change that narrative.
He's gonna fix it. I absolutely guarantee it. There's no doubt in my mind that he's gonna fix it, and it's gonna be hilarious how people switch up this year. The switch up is going to be absolutely insane, and I'm gonna make this very clear right now. Like the haters are gonna switch, and they're gonna act like it's always been love. So just watch the narrative flip and watch how Marvin Harrison Jr. the generational wide receiver. We always knew he could become.
Yeah.
Just remember all the narratives that are going around right now. People are not high on Marvin Harrison Jr. They have Brian Thomas over him, Malik Neighbors over him, Lad McConkey over him. He's wide receiver 4 or 5 right now in terms of where they classify him. So
Yeah.
just remember that going into this year.
We got my guy here, Trey, in the chat says, I've been saying we should take Golden or Burton to replace Dortch. So if that's the case, you're going to have to use a first round on either of those guys because they're going to go first round, right?
Golden's
Like
going 12. I'm very confident Golden's going 12 to Dallas.
one of them's going out to Dallas, you said?
100%.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. They need a receiver. Matthew Golden makes more sense because Luther Burden is a slot and CeeDee Lamb's a slot. So Matthew Golden makes the most sense to me. But receivers they're going to fly off.
Yeah.
I think. Or at least the top guys. McMillan, Golden, they're going to fly off. Ibuka and Burden might fall because they're slot receivers. But those two outside guys, they're going top 15 guaranteed.
McMillan is going 10, like top 10, right? I mean,
possibly. It just depends what teams are high on him, to be honest. It really depends. Like a team might be higher on Matthew Golden than McMillan, and they might jump up. It just depends what they deem a better fit. Do you want 6'5"? Do you want 5'11"? Do you want someone who's very gifted at contested catches, or do you want someone who's just better overall? It's up to you. And it just depends what a team values and what they see on tape. Like it's kind of like Travis Hunter too. Like where would you play him? They're very split.
Yeah.
Like it's very split in the NFL right now at wide receiver corner. Like some teams deem him better at corner, some teams receiver, some teams are going to deem Matthew Golden better than McMillan, and vice versa. McMillan better than Golden.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating draft because obviously not just for the Cardinals, but you're going to be following the careers of a Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, just because of the name, right? And Cam Ward, because he's most likely going to go first overall. Like you got these names that you're really curious to figure out what they're going to do in the NFL. Ashton Genty being another one. Is he this next Saquon Barkley, which a lot of people are kind of deeming him as, and he looks really, really good. So I'm not going to come out here and say he does. He looks really, really good. So just really curious to figure out how a lot of these prospects that could go in the top 10, or even Mason Graham, right? Potentially a top 5, top 6 prospect. But I don't know. I see McMillan, and I look at the draft order right now, and I don't know. I still do think that the Panthers right now makes the most sense to me, but Panthers is either Jalen Walker or McMillan. I feel like I can feel very confident putting some money down on that and saying, yeah, I feel like that's going to be the pick for the Panthers. Either their wide receiver.
You don't think they trade back?
I'm sorry?
You don't think they trade back?
I know there's rumors about it. It's a potential that they can, but I don't know. Like this is such a big year for Bryce Young. I mean, he looked really good at the end of the season. I mean, God, I mean, he beat us, right? I mean, but that's just the Panthers. Panthers always find a way to beat us. So,
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that's what they should prioritize. Like, either a really good defensive lineman, top 10, which I really do like Jalen Walker, or if not that, then maybe like McMillan, or if they do like Matthew Golden, making help go Matthew Golden. Who knows? But I think I should value some sort of wide receiver because who's their wide receivers right now that they got over there? Like they don't got anybody with the Panthers.
Xavier Legette.
Do they still have Thielen? Yeah,
I
they
don't
still got
know.
they still got Thielen. Yeah,
Possibly.
they do. Yeah, they got Thielen,
Okay, so they got
Leggett,
England.
Jalen Coker.
Oof.
Yeah,
But I think you could trade back and still get a guy.
yeah, you can.
Like I think Carolina could capitalize on draft picks. Like right now, a team that needs to come up. Let's just say
If
I don't
Shador
know. Like
falls,
8 is just very coveted. You know what I mean? Like 8 is a very coveted spot, and someone let's just say above 16 wants to come up and trade. You can get a haul to jump up. Like let's just say 19 or 17, 18, 16 to 8. There's so much value in that. Carolina can snag that first round, go get another second round pick and a third or something like that, and just capitalize. You might as well. There's no reason not to.
if should
Carolina's in such a bad spot where you need help, so go ahead and get all the talent you can in a back end draft.
right, if he doesn't go to the Giants, which I think he still will, I think things can get crazy for the 8th overall
You
pick.
think Shador goes to the Giants?
I think
I
so.
was on that train.
Yeah, I
But
think he does. What do you think?
I don't know. If they pass up, if Abdul Carter's there, they're so stupid
Yeah,
to pass up on Abdul Carter. Like,
yeah,
so stupid.
yeah. I don't know. I just feel like the ownership is gonna come out here. I mean, I did see the post that Abdul Carter came out and didn't he like post like one of their best edge rushers? Who was it? Was it Lawrence Taylor or
I don't
something
even
like that? Like in
know.
a jersey, or he did something like that on social media, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're going after Abdul Carter." The Giants fans ended up saying that, so I'm not sure like exactly, but man, they need some sort of quarterback or some sort of answer. It's not Mister Unlimited, that's for sure.
I like Russell Wilson, though. I think that's a good move for them. But
Yeah,
the
but not the
Giants'
future.
direction, yeah, I don't know. The Giants' direction is really weird to me. I would have
Yeah.
just rocked Jameis Winston, let him force feed Malik Neighbors the ball here, get the fan hope there, get the optimism. Everyone loves Jameis Winston. You're going to bring fans to the stadium.
Uh,
And then you just go Abdul Carter, and it's just bam. You have development. You're not going to win a ton of games. You could be in the Arch Manning sweepstakes because you're not going to be too good. Russell Wilson's going to win you games.
yeah.
Like, that's just the truth. Russell Wilson's going to win you games. So I don't
True.
know what their direction is. Like, I really don't. I would be thinking for Arch Manning right now. Like, hey, Jameis, here's your backup contract. We're paying you $4 million a year. Go sling that shit.
You know
Go
what
crazy.
the direction is? Brian Dable and their GM does not want to get
Trying
fired.
to keep their
They're
job.
trying to keep
Yeah.
their job. That's the direction.
It's crazy though. Like I think it's so crazy that you have to be in that position
Yeah.
where you don't have a choice. It sucks because like now you're altering your franchise to a generational talent. Like, hey, if we just tank this year, like trust me, like listen, we're gonna be in a good spot. But now you don't have a choice. Now you have to go all in because you're right. They gotta freaking play for their job. They gotta coach for their job. They got a GM for their job. And I think
Yeah.
the GM should be fired regardless.
Yeah, I
But
100% agree. 100%
Brian
agree.
Dable, I like Brian Dable. I think Brian
Yeah.
Dable's a solid coach. He made Daniel Jones look good for a year. Daniel
Yeah.
Jones sucks. So I think if you have the right quarterback long term, you're in a good spot.
It's just the New York market,
Huge.
it's 1,000 times worse, maybe 100 times worse than this market here. They do not accept losing. But I mean, maybe if they get an Abdul Carter, they'll probably be okay with it. But I don't know. You're always gonna have some people saying, "Oh, you should have gone after your quarterback at that very moment." But you're right, man. The Arch Manning sweepstakes is gonna be very, very intriguing to see what they do decide to do. Let me give a shout out here to my guy Jersey Cardinal. He says we got a solid team right now. Talking about the
Yes,
Arizona
we
Cardinals,
do.
and I honestly do believe that me and Mythic here both agree. We do got a solid team right now. We just talked about it. Like now, there's more questions on the offensive side of the ball, mainly that wide receiving core and a couple pieces on the O line. But I think overall, I think we can play a game. I think we can play a game in 2025 with the guys we got. Obviously, we'll take those
Yeah.
draft picks that are coming here in the next 6-7 days. But I think we could definitely play a game, and I think we can win some.
Yeah, as tough as it was to watch the offense wasn't the problem for that first end of the season, where we were putting up 30 points a game, scoring on the first drive every single game. Carolina game wasn't even our fault. The Panthers dropped 40 on this defense. That shouldn't happen again going forward. And a lot of those games should be won going into this year. Like the offense did struggle in some games, like the Detroit game, that was their fault. But like the defense in the front half was abysmal. If you don't remember, like it felt like if we punted the ball, we lost the game. If we
Which
punted the
one?
ball, we lost in
Which
any
game?
of them. In the first 8, besides the Detroit game, it felt
Well,
like
the
if we punted the ball,
Commanders, we
we
were
lost.
getting
The Packers were
walloped.
stomping on us.
Yeah,
Commanders stomping on us. The Bills stomping on us, and we were in the Bills game. But
Packers
like, yeah, the
stomped them.
Packers stomped on us. Like we were getting stomped on. Like this defense, it felt like if we scored, because we were scoring the first drive every game. I think the first like 6, 7, 8 games we scored on the first drive, the opening drive, which is really impressive. But then Drew Petzing's play calling fell off. On top of that, the defense sucked. And then the defense stepped out of nowhere after like week 8 and became like a top 6 unit for like a stretch of 5 weeks, which was really weird. But like for 5 weeks straight, like they were just like a top 5 unit after the bye. It made no sense, but they did it. And then that's when the offense struggled. And it was like we just couldn't play complementary football and it just wasn't clicking for us. So I hope that's different going into this year because I think the defense will be a lot better. So offense needs to be consistent. Defense just has to be top 12.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that last year, the bright spot was supposed to be the offense. Like that was the problem. So there was really no room for error for the offense to not get going. Is that makes sense? Because if the defense sucked, we weren't going to win that game at all. And you had some of those
Mm-mm.
games. The defense did pretty decent. In a few games, obviously we got walloped in a few games as well. I don't know. Honestly, I put the blame on both sides
They
of it
definitely
all.
both deserve blame.
Yeah, they both for different reasons for each game. You know what I mean? Each game is something different. But yeah, Panthers always seem to freaking beat us. I don't know. It's probably something in the water. I have no what it is. Panthers always
I
seem to
don't
beat
get
us.
it.
But yeah, we got walloped.
It's so frustrating. Remember Cam Newton came back? Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
good
Cam Newton
lord, out
comes
of
back in
retirement.
Arizona.
Just so
We back.
ridiculous, bro.
And then after that, he
So
falls off a cliff.
ridiculous.
After that, he falls off a cliff.
Yeah,
It was all downhill after that, by the
yeah.
way. It
It's
was
just
no ups. It was just us, dog walked us, and I'm done.
that's just Cardinal fan in a nutshell. When you see the Panthers, brother, it's wild. But yeah, we'll close up shop right here, man. I think this is a great conversation to had. Obviously, with the talks of the draft coming in here, with this new thing here that Josh Weinfest ended up putting out, just kind of adds a little bit more intrigue of hey, maybe the Cardinals can trade back up. So it's like at the end of the day, like you get another first round potential talent, that would be pretty darn amazing here for the Cardinals. But for the people that don't know who you are, Mythic, let everybody know how they can find you. By the way, your channel is linked in the description below if you want to go ahead and find his content. But go ahead and shout yourself off if you can.
Perfect. Mythic AZ on YouTube. If you guys want to go ahead and subscribe up, we are 1 subscriber away right now from 8,100 subscribers. But we're on the road to 9,000 as we stand. Me and Mike did a mock draft that is on my channel. If you guys want to check that out, go ahead and do that. 28 minutes of great content. And then on top of that, my Twitter or my X is IMythicAZ. My Instagram is at It's Mythic AZ. So if you guys want to check me out, that's where you can find me. Appreciate you for having me on today, Mike.
Absolutely, man. It was good, always good conversation. I'm really excited to see what happens here with the 16th overall pick here in the NFL draft, which is going to be coming sooner than we all think. So, all right, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Go ahead and subscribe over to my guy Mythic AZ's channel. It is going to be in the description of this video. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.